Hello everyone! Today we're going to take a look at a BGCSE Biology past paper taken from the year 2010, Paper 1, and we're going to look at questions number 4 and 5. The first question says that the diagram shows the water cycle. What will happen if all the plants are removed? A. Evaporation will increase. B. Precipitation will increase. C. Transpiration will decrease. Or D. Transpiration will increase. So according to the diagram, the plants are located right there, but let's take a deeper look at what the water cycle is all about. Water on the earth is always in flux and is always moving. Only a small percentage of the total water on earth is used by humans and plants. Most of this water is either being stored or flowing from one location to the next. We can start by looking at the clouds. The clouds release their water in the form of precipitation, which is rain, snow, or hail. This water finds its way into rivers, streams, and lakes in the form of runoff. There's also infiltration that occurs in which water finds its way into underground areas. Plants also find a way to use this water by collecting it through their roots. The water that has infiltrated the ground percolates through the underground and creates a water storage underneath the ground. The percolated water, together with the surface water that has been collected from the runoff, makes its way into the oceans of the world. Although plants take up water from the soil and use it for growth, they also lose water via a process called transpiration, and water goes into the atmosphere that way. And the wind, along with the heat from the sun, heats up the water in the ocean and causes evaporation of a large percentage of the water, which then condenses and form clouds. The clouds then release the water in the form of precipitation, and the process just continues on again in a cycle. So back to the question. If the plants are removed, we don't expect to see a significant change in evaporation or precipitation, but more of a change in the rate of transpiration or the amount of transpiration. So if the plants are removed, transpiration will decrease. Question 5 says the diagram shows a part of a marine food web. Which statement best describes the hawksbill turtle? A primary consumer only. B, a primary and a secondary consumer. C, a primary and a tertiary consumer. D, a secondary and a tertiary consumer. To better understand what's going on with this food web, let's make it a little bit more visual. So according to the food web, there is seagrass and plant plankton, also called phytoplankton, along with sponges, sea urchins, the hawksbill turtle, a tiger shark, and also a triggerfish. Now, a food web shows us the food that is taken in by different organisms in the environment. However, unlike a food chain, it shows us different paths of food taken in by these organisms. And we see that the hawksbill turtle consumes the seagrass, the sponge consumes the phytoplankton, and the sea urchin also consumes the plant plankton. The hawksbill turtle then in turn also consumes the sponge and the sea urchin. The tiger shark will eat the sponge and also the hawksbill turtle, and the triggerfish will eat the sea urchin, but it will be eaten by the tiger shark. The plants in the food web are always considered the producers, and that is because they produce their own food through a process called photosynthesis. But organisms within the food chain or the food web that consume or eat the producers are called the primary consumers. So the sea urchin and the sponge and the hawksbill turtle would be considered primary consumers. Organisms that eat the primary consumers are considered the secondary consumers. And according to this food web, the secondary consumers are the triggerfish, the tiger shark, and also the hawksbill turtle. So the exam question asks us about the hawksbill turtle. And we see that the hawksbill turtle is a primary consumer because it eats the producers, which is, in this case, the seagrass. but it is also a secondary consumer because it eats primary consumers, which are the sponge and the sea urchin. So back to question number 5, which statement best describes the hawksbill turtle? The answer would be B. It is a primary and a secondary consumer. So that's it for this tutorial. And if you need more help as you prepare for your BGCSE biology exam, you may be interested in our biology community course, which includes a library full of video lessons covering the topics on the Ministry of Education syllabus, live workshops, live instructor support, a community environment, and also access to our BGCSE biology past paper answer keys as well. So until next time, happy learning.